Recording. All right. Podcast number 2 of the Booze and BJJ podcast. I am your host. What's my name? Thomas, something like that. I don't remember. I got my butt kicked at Leo Dallas earlier, so I'm soaking that in. Anyways, episode number 2. We've got a panel of 4 right now. We got a couple guys coming in. With us, we have Jordan Stone, Olu, who you guys met last time, and my good friend Shane Cheek from Georgia, not the country, the state, or is it the state, not the country?
Right. Yeah, Georgia. It might be a country of its own. I don't know.
Is it a city state? I don't know. Anyways, Jordan, would you like to kick it off and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jordan Stone. As you guys can probably tell on the screen, but I've been training judo since I was pretty much learning to walk. My dad was my head instructor back at the gym that we growing up in Pennsylvania. I wrestled a bunch of years from elementary on. Started jiu-jitsu probably like 2012-ish. Didn't take it too seriously for a while, and just been training ever since. And I've moved around a lot. So I've had a lot of different exposure to other gyms and, different styles, if you will. Lived in Jersey for a little bit. I, like I said, originally from Pennsylvania, was, moved back home for a while, trained there. Florida, was training down there. And now I'm back in the DC area training again. So, yeah.
And you trained with Sugi
Yeah.
previously?
Yes. So actually, I met Sugi in passing. I think it was 2012. I was still in the military and I was kind of looking for gyms just to fill up my time when I knew I was getting out. Just started going around. I went to Arlington Judo, Washington Judo. I went to Lloyd Irvine's. I met Sugi. He beat the crap out of me, obviously. One night I saw, he was wearing his Olympic gi at a judo practice. And I thought right away, I'm like, all right, I got to talk to this guy and figure out where he trains, what he's doing. He kind of gave me a loose schedule and I just showed up, and I'd say for about 2 years, I tried to follow him around and train with him or wherever he was 3 or 4 days a week. So he beat the crap out of me quite a bit. Yeah.
That's for the backtracking. For those who don't know, Sugi Damden is one of the coaches that we train with.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm trying to get him on here. So what you drinking tonight, Jordan?
I got a Heineken. Yep.
I got a classic. Good.
Yeah.
Olu, you can say hi. We already know you.
Yeah, you already know me from last time. Ole, been training for 7 years now, maybe a little over that. Started out Muay Thai, saw all the fun that everyone was having at BJJ, rolling around in their pajamas. Decided to give it a try, and 7 years in, 2-stripe blue belt. Yeah, and I train with Thomas, train with Shane. Yeah, and today I am drinking bourbon with Coke, but I didn't have any cups or glasses, so I have a Moscow Mule cup mug. Yeah,
Fancy.
blasphemy.
Hey,
That's all I had.
If it works, it works. It's an excuse to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, your turn.
Boy, where do I start? Well, let's see. Pentagon MMA. Oh, my name's Shane Cheek. I'm from, as Thomas mentioned, from Georgia, South Georgia. And you guys might be too young, but my interest in jiu-jitsu started from many people when they saw Hoist Gracie fight in those first UFCs. That had such a huge impact. And at the time, growing up in South Georgia, there was zero BJJ student anywhere. You couldn't, there wasn't even on the East Coast at that point. They were still in California, I guess, starting up. But it took from the early 90s to the early 2000s. I don't even know if there's a BJJ place even today where I grew up. So even though I was very interested in it, I just couldn't go anywhere. But it wasn't until I moved out to California in 2007, and I still had the interest. And of course, that's the mecca of jiu-jitsu. And there was plenty of places to go. And I was living in Torrance at the time. Torrance, California, and the closest place was a place called Kaiki Jiu-Jitsu. I think he's one of the few outside of the Gracie family that got his black belt from Helio. But anyway, it was him and his two sons that had an academy, and it wasn't very far from where I lived. So I started going there for about 6 months, and ended up, I hurt my shoulder. And then that was basically the end of my training until I came here to DC and started back at Pentagon, Pentagon is probably the most consistent training I've done in jiu-jitsu or any martial art for that matter. I did back when I was like in playing Pee-wee baseball. I quit baseball to do a taekwondo. There was a taekwondo studio in my hometown. I wanted to do martial arts, so I quit baseball, went to join this gym, and my uncle thought I was crazy because he's like, why are you're giving up baseball? But anyway, that's kind of my journey. But I have really no background in martial arts whatsoever outside of jiu-jitsu.
Could have fooled me with how you whoop my butt every time you get your hands on me. Yeah, like, so Shane is one of those guys where I have to move around and avoid, because if he gets 2 grips on me, I'm done. Done.
Well, I went to class tonight and rode with Matt, and he's got my number. I have nothing for Matt. I told him tonight, I have nothing for you, man. Like, he smashes me, and I can't get nothing on. Like, I don't know. He's a tough one.
Matt's one of those guys where I just kick him in the nuts and wish for the best.
kick him in the nuts and run.
What you drinking
Speaking
tonight,
of,
Shane?
sorry to, but I want to. Have you guys been to Isaac July's class since he started?
Oh,
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
How are you liking them wall sits?
Yeah.
Huh?
Still
Well
doing
said.
that. He's still
And when he
doing
walks
that.
on your on your thighs.
Yeah. So I when I started at Pentagon, when I started jiu-jitsu, BJJ, it was under Isaac, and yeah, he used to do all that wall sit. He walks on your thighs and like makes you do all this crazy warm up stuff. And it's more, it's not like cardio blasting warm ups. It's more, strength.
Yeah. The first time that one class I took of his, he has to do wall sits. He started walking on walking across everyone. I was thinking, should I tell him my knees are jacked? But by the time I made up my mind, he had already stepped on my left knee. I was like, fine. Might as well just take it. Anyways, what are you drinking, Shane?
I hope I don't get kicked off the podcast because I'm not drinking because I'm doing sober October.
Oh,
I'm almost to the end. Like, so I may not be. Am I welcome to stay, or do I need to?
no, you're fine. Alcohol is optional, but heavily encouraged.
I am drinking water, if that counts.
No, that works. So what I'm drinking today was a gift from our good friend Wayne. It's Panamanian rum. Wait, Panamanian rum? Yeah, Panamanian rum. I just took a sip. I'm feeling it already. I should have just had a damn beer.
What's it called?
Abuelo Anijo. Does anybody speak Spanish?
It's Grandpa.
Can you read it, or is it backwards?
I can read it.
I think it's like Grandpa Anijo or something like that.
Yeah, Grandpa.
Anyways, actually, it's pretty good. I'm drinking it on some ice. Anyways, Jordan, how's your training gone this week?
Good. I feel beat up. Tuesday, I actually went into district martial arts with Scott at noon, and then over to high noon at 6:30 for the competition class, and then I teach there at 7:30 for judo. So Wednesday was a rough day. Backtracking a little bit. Tuesdays, Tim invites me places sometimes just to roll. I got absolutely destroyed by him in Nakapan, if you guys know him.
From Beta?
Beta, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just on a different planet with, the level of jujitsu he has. So I got destroyed. There were several of us there, all pretty high level black belts, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty much at the bottom of the rung there. So my my Tuesday and Wednesday was pretty rough, and then I skipped Thursday, and then tonight I was over at High Noon for open mat. So tomorrow I'll probably do Sugi's for open
Yeah.
mat at 1:30. So yep, that'll be kind of my week. Sunday I'll try and find some place to train.
Did you learn anything new worth note? Like any new techniques?
Oh boy.
I know that's usually hard at a point where you learn something like this absolutely just blows your mind, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah, it was more open mat sparring this week. I mean, against these high level guys, um I'm really bad with like 50-50 and the saddle position. Like I need to go over that's something I've got no exposure to. The saddle position is something I've never actually like trained or started off like, fighting from.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's completely new to me as of like 2 months ago.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah. Me and you've met Yo.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Yo. Every once in a while we'll play around with 50-50, but
Yeah.
it gets a little weird because he likes to tickle my feet. But anyways, Shane, how's your training gone this week? Other than getting beat up by Big Matt.
It was going well until tonight. I felt like I only go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday usually. Unless I can't go Friday, I go Saturday. But I felt like Wednesday was my best night of rolling. Because I mean, some nights you feel good and sometimes you don't. But Wednesday felt good. One of those nights you leave and you're like, okay, maybe I'm doing something good. Or those nights you're like, should I have a white belt on? It's like,
yeah, I just came out of one of those nights like less than an hour ago.
If I go out to Chantilly, I'm like, I should have a white belt. It's like,
well, don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, Chantilly's weird. Everyone has a white belt, I feel like, but they're all like Mongolian wrestling champions, and
they throw me around like a rag doll. It's like they swat me away. It's like,
yeah.
I'm like, holy cow.
But if it seems like as long as you try and come back, they love you to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do for sure. And they did very well at the last tournament that they were in.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I believe it.
What about you, Wole?
So I am actually jealous of y'all because I have been out 2 weeks now. Last week was just a rough week, and this week I got a cold because toddler and daycare.
Yep.
So I have not been able to train this week. Yeah.
Jordan's gonna experience the sickness, the plagues that come with toddlers soon.
I can't wait.
Well, they got tapped out by a cold.
Yeah.
What's that?
There you go.
You get tapped out by a cold.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, oh man, I really want to go, but then I was like, I gotta be responsible. I don't want to get others sick, and like, but I was also thinking because I still roll with a mask. I was like, I could still do it. I wear a mask, but I was like, no, let me not do that to anyone.
Just get a full body soak of hand sanitizer. You'll be fine.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll come in a hazmat. Do they have like hazmat suits for jiu-jitsu?
I'm sure
The garbage bags. They're for cutting weight. Yeah.
No, let's see what's going on here. Well, folks, we're still waiting on a couple people. I don't know where they are, but we're going to continue. So, gentlemen, the main topic of the evening is cheesy as it is. If you could talk to your white belt self, what advice would you give?
Sorry.
Was that me? No. But I was worried my dog was going to bark. Wait, where is she?
I'm waiting for mine to go crazy here.
No, she's asleep.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, that's a good microphone. But anyways, if you could have a conversation with yourself as a white belt, what advice would you give yourself? Jordan?
Oh boy. I guess to kind of not sum it up, but in a few simple words, I guess, be humble and just try and learn as much as possible. My first exposure to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was super jaded. So I kind of mentioned before, my dad ran a club, judo club back home in Pennsylvania, and I had done that since I can remember. My first tournament, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. And so we had a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu come in, and to put it lightly, he sucked. He was absolutely terrible. I don't think he was real. I call him black belt. I think he was a self-promoted black belt, or he just really didn't have a lot of time on the mat. So I kind of had this jaded perception of jiu-jitsu, thinking, okay, it's obviously inferior to judo and wrestling and everything I've trained. So I was kind of blocked off to the idea of training BJJ for a while. And I really had to humble myself. Being a black belt in judo, the first time I really stepped onto a real gym's mat was at Lloyd Irvine's. Sugi, kept pushing me to train with them. And after judo practice, they had competition team going on. And, I thought, okay, I'll put a white belt on, I'll roll, whatever. And even Lloyd had, said something, he said I was more than welcome to stay. So I thought, why not? I'll get an extra hour or two. And one of my first rounds was with a purple belt at the time. And I thought in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll beat him, no problem. I got my ass kicked. And it really bothered me. Now, hindsight's 2020, the person was Keenan Cornelius. So I can't be too upset. But at the time, I was really hard on myself. And I think people reach a point where they either say, I'm going to stay in my lane, judo's my thing, or whatever sport, whatever your thing is, they stay there. I broke myself out of my comfort zone, and it really was like a eye-opening experience. I realized just how many holes were really in my game. I kept going. I didn't take it too seriously. I wish I could go back in time and say, hey man, you need to be at these classes 3 days a week. I promise you, like, soak it up. I always went in there thinking, okay, I'm going to work on my judo. I'm going to throw them down, get on top, and just work a submission or something. And it's just kind of how my first year or so went with jiu-jitsu. So like I said, if I had to sum it up, I'd probably go back in time and, tell myself, take it more seriously. You have a lot to gain, because at this point, I'm no world champion in judo. I'm not going to win high level tournaments, but I can definitely fall back on my jiu-jitsu. I feel like my jiu-jitsu, compared to most high level judo players, is actually better. Now, obviously, like someone like Sugi just beats the crap out of me. But a lot of the judo clubs I go to now, they don't really focus on the newaza part. They really don't spend any time on the ground. So as soon as we get there and we start rolling around, I'm extraordinarily comfortable. I know if I can get in a judo tournament, get to the mat, I'm fine. Most people aren't gonna, unless of course I show up to nationals and like Travis Stevens is standing in front of me. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I've had not Travis Stevens, but other people, in that realm at like nationals. It didn't go well, but yeah, for the most part, at most tournaments, if I show up, I'm pretty comfortable in judo with my jiu-jitsu game.
So on that note, on Thursday, there was a older gent who definitely has some sort of judo background, like some high level judo background.
Yeah.
And I was watching him because he was in a judo gi. He looked kind of familiar to me. And he did this. It was interesting because he was very uncomfortable in a lot of positions on the ground. And he would force a scarf hold and just crush whoever he was rolling with.
Yeah. And
it was funny because I think he partnered with Miga. Miga.
Yeah.
And Miga just hugged him and flipped him over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was hilarious. The look on the poor guy's face was priceless.
Yeah.
But anyways, Shane, how did your did you already have your week of training?
We're on to the advice.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
So Shane,
that rum is working quick.
Dude, it is. I am I'm feeling
it. Get off this October thing. I want some of that.
Hey, you can have the bottle. Like, there's no way I'm finishing this bottle. Like, if I finish this bottle, something is extremely wrong. So yeah, Shane, if you could talk to your white belt self, what advice would you give yourself?
I think it would be I don't know if this qualifies, but it would be to start sooner. Like I didn't start till I was 47 ish, 46, 47. I wish I did start, like I said, in California, but I stopped and it was what 8 or 9 year gap between when I actually started, and then I wish I'd even started before that if I could have. I did live in Atlanta for about 10 years. I'm not. I know there's some gyms there now, but I wish I had started sooner and been more consistent and stayed with it like I'm doing now at Pentagon. And then I think the other thing I would do is tell myself to be patient. Like instead of, I felt like early on you're like, I think that's why everybody, most white belts when they roll, it's like, it's like just settle down, relax, take it in. Don't try to get to the next, it's like.
That's perfect advice, because that's exactly what I tell our new panel member who just joined, Kadeem.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good
Oh,
night.
look at that.
When he started, I used to tell him that all the time, like, calm down.
Yeah,
Stop trying to overpower me. Calm down.
I when I roll with guys with white belts, I hadn't felt it recently with some of the white belts, like how it used to be real spastic,
Yeah.
but I think back and I'm like, God, I hope I wasn't like that when I started. Like, I hope that wasn't me, but I know it was. But I'll be like, just slow down and soak it in. Don't try. You tell yourself, your mind tells you got to get to the certain, get to the blue, and you want to, I think white belt's a good time to learn the basic, learn the fundamentals, make sure you got all that down before you even try to go to the next whatever. Yeah, I wish I could have started it way earlier in my 30s, 20s.
nah, you started just at the right time, man.
Yeah.
I'll be on a cane by the time I get to wherever. Like,
To paraphrase Gandalf the Grey, never mind, I can't do it. Anyways, Kadeem, thank you for joining. Introduce yourself real quick and we'll continue on the topic.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I apologize that I'm late. I had to do a few things, but well, I'm Kadeem. I train at Pentagon MMA. Currently a blue belt, new blue belt. So I'm not too far from the white belts that we're talking about. What else do we say? I've been training for about 2+ years now, I believe, and just having fun, man. Just having fun. So yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shane, were you done with your answer?
oh yeah, I was done. I had nothing left.
I'm really feeling this rum, so if I skip around, my bad. Olu, what advice would you give your white belt self?
Learn as much as possible, man, because it's like, and actually try to be systematic about the learning, because a lot of times it's like, you learn something one week and you learn something the next week, and you just keep learning different things each week. And if you're not actually putting in the effort to record what you're learning and go over it, then you're just gonna lose that skill. I used to take a lot of videos after class, but I never really looked at them. And I was going through like my files and I found all these videos. I was like, oh wow, there are all these different techniques that were taught that I really should relearn. Yeah, so I think like making your training more systematic, more purposeful, but not super rigid would be my advice to my white belt self. And like also have fun with it, don't spaz out. It's not a, yeah, and also don't like Yeah, I think probably the main thing is just like, just be a bit more systematic with your training. And also do competitions and go around different places, because do open mat at different places, because it definitely tests your skill. And also don't just roll in open mat. Actually practice the stuff that you learned in class. That's what I'd say.
Honestly, out of everybody here, I've never experienced spazziness out of any of you except for Kay. Like, Kadeem is the spazziest person on this panel that I've ever rolled with. And
I tell you,
go ahead, Shane.
I was gonna say I rode with Kadeem tonight, and I rode many times with Kadeem. What I like about Kadeem though is he is not afraid to try things. Like, a lot of times when you start, you're like scared you're gonna get put in that bad spot, so you don't try nothing. But Kadeem, man, it's fun to roll because he does try to do stuff and try to, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's also athletic, but it's also not, you got those dudes who are super jacked and athletic, and they're just gonna hold one position, like try to submit you a low way and just to strain in the heck out of themselves. But yeah, Kadeem's like athletic, but he's not just gonna hold a position and try and just like hold you down. It flows around a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you,
I
guys.
do remember once upon a time that Kadeem did try to overpower me several times early on. It was cute.
He learns fast though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was rolling with him. I was like, is this guy trying to overpower me? I was like, really? Me? Okay, let's see how this goes. Anyway.
Never even met you. I feel like I know you already.
Yeah. Look what happens.
Nice to meet you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Kadeem, what about you? What would you tell your white belt self?
Because of Ole's nice answer, I was like, let me break out a notepad. So when it comes back to me, I have like a concise answer. So I got like 3 words down, but I had some thoughts. I don't know. Well, I know for the most part, you guys are pretty high. So I'm pretty new blue belt. But the things that I would say to myself or any white belt is to evaluate how you learn. I think that's a pretty big thing. Some people watch videos. Some people like to write down notes at the end of class. I think maybe hone in on how you learn, so you can ask questions and maybe practice at the end. I would also say to take your time, because I think as a white belt, you're looking at all these higher belts and you want to, learn your game. You want to learn how to submit in every particular position. But kind of what Ole said is like, be systematic, maybe for 1 week or 2 weeks, work on side control or half guard and work on that 1 technique or 2 techniques that you learned the 2 weeks prior. And just kind of consistently get that, because I do believe if you constantly try that on different individuals, certain questions come up and then you know how to ask a question when a new example is shown to you. Mm-hmm. So I would say that, and definitely have fun, do a lot of stretching, and roll with different type of people. I haven't rolled in a different gym yet, but roll with women, roll with the bigger guys, roll with people that your size, and kind of like cater your strength and, figure out what you want to do with that person. Like for me with females, I kind of do no strength, but a lot of the times, maybe you guys can chime in and say the same, but a lot of the times, especially the women that continue to come, are like very skillful. They may not be as strong as you, but they can choke you out or submit you just like anybody else. So you kind of got to give them a chance. And I think those are the people you kind of work on techniques with. And for white belts, what I try to do is work on those fundamentals. Don't always try to just, choke them out or, give them a little rough time. I try to really focus on, am I pivoting right? Am I doing these things? Because they're the ones that's going to kind of give you that space. They're not going to really know what's going on. So you can kind of work on, hey, am I actually putting my weight? Am I actually putting pressure on them? So I would say that. And then maybe last, I think I said it already, but have fun. Because if you don't have fun and you're just trying to be the best man on the mat, maybe that also goes hand in hand with fun. But if you're always trying to be better than everybody else, I think you burn out. Because I've been training maybe less than a lot of you guys. And I've already felt like I've seen a ton of people come into the gym, say they're going to do it, and then maybe a month or two later, they're gone, and maybe they were focusing on the wrong thing. So I think if you have fun, align yourself with some good people like you guys, I think you can kind of have some longevity. So I'm normally long-winded, but I'll stop right there. I think I gave a few things.
It is
So
perfectly fine. Go ahead, Lois.
yeah, I like that idea. I always tell white belts that focus on the fundamentals. Don't your first, as a white belt, give yourself space to actually learn. And as a white belt, you're not going to effectively be submitting people, even months into your game. That the first thing you need to do is learn how to escape, protect yourself, and learn. Yeah. So, and once you learn that, and you have the basics of that, then you can start figuring out, okay, all my angles are protected. What do I need to do now to escape? And then once you learn escapes, what do I need to do to submit? Yeah, I think that I think it's also important because I wish I had started jiu-jitsu earlier. And I wish I had started competing earlier, because I think competition really shows you, where your skill level is.
Yeah.
Especially those what's it called? The all-in matches.
Absolute.
Yeah, especially absolutes.
Yeah. Speaking of competition, Jordan and I signed up for, what was it, Fuji?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we thought
Which
there'd be huh?
Which one?
The one where we thought there'd be a lot of people in our bracket.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just me and you.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was silly.
So did you guys go against each other, or?
No,
No,
he'd win.
we just emailed the director and said, can you put a credit to the next tournament? So
Yeah.
So Jordan, so I'm wearing my old guy jiu-jitsu t-shirt right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you part of that crew of old men?
I'm transitioning into it. I'm getting more accepting of my age now. I'm 31.
Mhm.
So I feel
That's not
old.
old. That's not
I
old.
feel old. Yeah.
It's funny
The
because
best days are behind me.
it's
No,
funny because I think I always think I'm the oldest guy there, and then
Yeah.
Shane's like, "No, you're not old."
It's funny because some of the guys I'm rolling with, I literally could be I'm old enough to be their father. Like, I mean, you got a 25-year-old, or it's like,
yeah.
Maybe you are their father.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, like, in Chantilly, you'll think you'll be rolling with like an 18 or 19-year-old man, and they're like 13, 14.
That is so frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
So frustrating.
You see this guy, they're 5'8", 5'9", 220, and you're thinking, oh, he
Damn.
must be 18 or 19. And then you find out, oh, you're 13.
Yeah.
And you are an extremely hard roll. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I need
Jesus.
to take a couple of months of hard training just to go to Sugi's gym.
Oh wow.
But I gotta make it back up there again.
Yeah, I hope to try it out.
Yeah, he was. So it's funny. The first time I ever went there, he had opened it up recently. At Pentagon, he does the whole routine. Does the classes, like, takes us through the technique, and everything's kind of mellow. First day at his gym, he's like, let's go. He like turned it up, like all the way up. I was like, okay, this is intense. The
Damn.
true Sugi is coming out.
Well,
But it was a lot of fun.
his when he did that Friday competition class at Pentagon, it was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
intense.
I love that. I love those classes. I wish they didn't get rid of.
So I mentioned, like, back in, I think it was 2013, 2014, I'd go to Lloyd Irvine's on Friday nights, especially because most of the time, so we had judo on the schedule. I think it was like 7 or 7:30 or something, and most of the time it was just Sugi and I showing up. So I pretty much had a one-on-one with Sugi.
Oh
And,
man.
you know, being a judo black belt, he didn't take it easy on me. He kicked the crap
Yeah.
out of me for however long. And then we'd always do some sort of like crazy workout. Most of the time I couldn't finish a workout. I always thought I was in great shape until I started trying to like train with Sugi. I mean, like not roll, whatever, spar, you know, that's one thing. But when because they had, you know, a little bit of a weight room section in the back corner. I mean, that dude, after going, I think it was 1 hour of judo, 1 hour of jujitsu, I am soaked, I am beat. He's like, come on, let's go lift weights. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? I'm ready to go home, man. He's like, no, come on. We start doing stuff. He got on the treadmill and he's like, we're gonna do 10 miles per hour, 10% incline, 10 sets, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. He said, when I jump off, you jump on. Made it like 4 rounds before I like, you know, sprawled out, starfished on the mat. And Sugi's like, come on, man, come on. I'm like, no, dude, I quit. I'm done. My heart's gonna explode.
Yeah.
I could not do it. And then
Wow.
you know, we just had different workouts that he would put me through. And just the mental prep, knowing every Friday night, oh man, it's just gonna be Sugi and I.
Yeah.
This is gonna suck, you know. And I had a long drive to Camp Springs. I was living in Arlington, driving out to Lloyd Irvin's to
Oh man.
Camp Springs,
Yeah.
like 45 minutes. I'm like, Sugi's gonna kick the shit out of me, and then I'm gonna have to do some crazy workout, you know.
Yeah.
Man.
So the most interesting thing that Sugi ever did with me was it was an open mat at Friday night at Pentagon MMA. And he's sitting there on a bench and he looks at me and goes, "Hey Tom, do you do any boxing?" And I was like, a little bit. It's been a couple years. He hands me a pair of gloves and he goes, "I'll go light."
Mm.
Oh, all right. So put the gloves on, put my hands up. First thing he does is he smacks me right here in the middle of my forehead. And I thought my neck was going to break. And I was like, "That's your light punch?" Okay.
Yeah, I have. So you know when he was training for his MMA match.
Yeah.
There was I think I had made it to open mat. It was like a couple of weeks before his MMA match, and you know I'm sitting on the sideline, and he comes up to me and he's like, "How tall are you?" I was like, 6 feet, and he's like, "Huh? How much do you weigh?" And I think back then I was like 180 something. It's like 180 something. He's like, "All right, come on, let's spar." So he used me as a sparring, you know,
Yeah.
basically as a punching bag to train for his MMA match. You know, he was going light, but it was not comfortable for me as.
Well, his opponent was about your height. And I think you know, I think you were a little bit
That's why
heavier.
he was like sizing me up. He was like, "Yeah, you know, you're about the same height and about the same weight." He knocked that dude out.
Yeah.
I felt
So
for
you
that
helped.
too.
You assisted with that win.
Yeah, I assisted. Yeah, I like that.
I fell for that too. Back in like I lived in Clarendon, and he was teaching at Nova, and I had a lot of time off. So he told me, he's like, "Hey man, do you ever want to try kickboxing or something?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." He told me to meet him at like, I don't know, noon or something at Nova MMA. We show up, no one's really at the gym. We just put gloves on. I'm thinking like, he has no idea what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. We're just gonna have fun, move around. Yugi had a little bit of training. You know, he kicked the shit out of me for like 8 straight months. We'd meet down there maybe twice a week and do some sparring. And I actually, you know, I started getting like better, you know, with kicking, punching, just striking in general. Like, you know, we were doing a little bit of Muay Thai. I feel like he was getting lessons, and then he would, you know, invite me over and we would do a little extra work for him. But it all stopped. We were sparring the one day, and you know, I was just circling to my left, and he just caught me on my side.
Mm.
And like you see in the movies where your mouthpiece goes flying. That's what it felt like. I dropped to the mat. It was like our first round because, you know, we would do some pad work. I've never held pads before except for Sugi. He taught me how to do it. You know, then we would do like 3-minute rounds, and however long Sugi wanted to go, which ended up being like 7 or 8, and I'm just like dragging around. First round hits me right in the side. Mouthpiece goes flying. I get up and I'm like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm like, dude, I'm done for the day. I left. My insides didn't feel right for about a month, and I never sparred again. I've never done striking again.
It seems like we all have some
Yeah.
pretty painful experiences with Sugi, because now everybody's saying their experience, and I'm thinking back to maybe like 3 weeks ago. It was like an odd class, like not an odd class, an odd number class. So someone had to be left out, and Sugi was, Sugi had that day where he was like, all right, I'll jump in. So somehow I was like, I'm gonna challenge myself, because that's also something I'll tell as a white belt. Don't always go with someone that you think you can beat. But anyway, so I was like, all right, let me go with Sugi. I'm gonna learn a bunch of things. And I think we were sparring at like 5 minutes per round. And the first round, I was like, all right, I got smashed. Like I felt like he was tightening some grips a little bit past. Like I would tap, and I felt like he would go a little extra just because. And I was like, oh man. So then it came around where it was more white belts in the class, and I wanted to switch, but everyone was like, nah, I'm not going with Suki. So unfortunately, I had to go for another 5 rounds. I was getting my butt kicked so bad. I had to stop, and I was like, Sugi, what can I do different? Because I feel like you're just smashing me this whole time. And he's like, well, you got to work on your grips. And of course, you take that suggestion and you try to work on it. And he just does something completely different and continue to smash you for the rest of the 5 minutes.
Hey, you work on your grips and he just rips your hand off.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who's an Olympian.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Elementary school to Olympics.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I imagine it's like fighting a python. Like,
yeah.
If you went every little space, it cinches up, and it's like eventually it's just like.
And just like you want to show him, like, all right, I could do this. Like there were some grips that he had and some chokes where I was like, oh, it's not that tight yet, so I feel like I can fight it. And I feel like because I did that and didn't tap immediately, he went like, all right, you tapped, but I'm gonna make sure you tap like 5 times before I let you go. And I was just like, man, after that class, I had to take maybe a few days off because I was feeling it. I was done after 10 minutes.
So as a white belt, my first experience with Sugi was I was rolling with him. I think it was like, one of the rolling sessions after class. And he goes into side control on me, full on pressure. And, he's like, what, 130, maybe 140, something like that.
Damn.
But it's like full on pressure on me. And I tapped, and he's like, no, you don't tap from pressure. Keep going. It's like, oh,
yeah. Actually, when I started, when I was heavier, I was like 245-ish plus maybe. And I saw Sugi the first time. I was thinking to myself, who's this tiny man? Like, what's he gonna do to me? I'm a wrecking ball in my own. I mean, I was mistaken. I'm not a wrecking ball, as he quickly proved. But the first time I rolled with him, I tried to overpower him a little bit, and it did not make a difference. Like he had jumped on my back, he choked me out, put me into side control, and it was like a black hole just appeared on my chest, and I couldn't breathe. My lungs just said no, like no, we're not doing it. So I had to tap for pressure, and he just looked at me funny, giggled, and did it again. And like maybe a month or two later, he's like, hey Tom, you want to do some randori? And I was like, and it was just after class. I was tired, like asthma, just about to pop. And I look up and I was about to say no, and then he had already clicked start on the timer. I was like, oh, I guess there is no. And he just straight up just ankle picked me for like 4 minutes straight. Just like bam, bam, just my butt hitting the mat, just bam. And he's laughing at me, like not in a mean way, but like just giggling. Okay. And that's when I was all in. I was like, if he can do this to me and with this size difference, I want to know what he knows.
Yeah.
So
that's jiu-jitsu for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of like judo guys in competitions, I went up against a guy once at a competition, and so we start off and he's like in a square stance with me, And next thing I know, he gets his grips, and he tries to do. I think he tries to do a hip toss, but he didn't complete it. So as soon as my feet touched the mat, I had to go straight for pulling guard, because I was like, I'm not gonna let this guy. I'm not gonna let this judo guy like slam me on the mat.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jordan,
But yeah, I wish they did bring back judo.
Go ahead, Shane.
I'm curious. So Sugi went on vacation a few weeks ago, and it's, I guess, a guy named Shin. You know, Shin came in and filled in. Apparently, Shin brought Sugi over from Mongolia, but he's a judo guy too. I just wonder if you had any interactions with him.
Tom, has he been there?
It's been a while, but you and Shin have encountered each other.
I don't remember him.
He's a husky Korean guy. Brown belt.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about.
Vaguely remember.
Does he wear glasses?
He
think
said
it
he
was
hadn't
last-
trained. He said he's not even training right now. Like, he showed up to teach our class that day.
Yeah.
But I talked to him a little bit, and he was like, I hadn't been to, like, he don't even have a gym he goes to. He just, but
It-
Did he throw me
it's-
around or something? I don't remember.
No, I think we were just doing like ground fighting.
Okay.
This was last year, I think.
I can't remember. I gotta be
It's-
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while. It's been a while. Miga choked him out, and he hasn't been back since.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
But no, Shin is a pretty skilled guy, and he's big. So
I don't remember. Yeah, I'd have to see a picture of him.
I'll show you one next time I see you.
That's the problem. I think I forget who mentioned it about kind of white belts sort of dropping out a little bit, and I kind of mentioned, I don't know if all you heard it. I probably started when I was 3 or 4, because my dad was running a judo club back home, and that's one thing that's always kind of gotten to me, especially as a kid growing up. Like, your peers, just sort of the student turnover. I feel like every 2 years it's a completely different,
Yeah.
new set of faces.
Mhm.
So it's always been kind of, disappointing to, there's new phases through training. But with that being said, I encounter so many different people, and it was really cool kind of growing up. My dad taught from like 1975 until 7 or 8 years ago in the Pennsylvania area. So when I walk around with him, we have random people come up to us and just say, "Hey, how's it going? Sensei Mike." My dad will, hold the conversation, we'll walk away, and I'm like, "Who's that guy?" He's like, "I don't know." Really? He said, "I have no idea. Do you know how many people I've taught in the past, 4
Yeah,
decades,
that's true.
whatever, 5 decades?" I'm like, "You're right," because I can't remember who showed up 2 weeks ago. So
yeah.
There's a guy at our gym who said he doesn't even learn white belts' names until they're a couple of months in, because they're less than likely to make it through the few
Yeah.
first months.
yeah, I'm bad at names to begin with, but yeah, it's really hard when you get, I do travel around. Like, I go to a lot of different gyms, so just to get that different competition feel. But it is hard to learn names and stuff. But
Yeah.
That's something I think somebody brought up tonight, was like just traveling to different open mats.
yeah,
Yeah, that's I think
forget who
that's
that
key.
was. Yeah.
I think it was Wole, or I think it was somebody.
So
But yeah,
Yeah.
like tonight I went to Dallas just because I needed to get out of the house, and that was interesting. I got whooped. Not in a bad way, not in a mean way, but it was a good gut check.
It was a humbling experience.
Yeah, and like I was sitting there giggling the whole time, and I think I weirded out a couple of the guys.
you're like, this is so much fun.
He's a masochist. He loves
Yeah.
pain.
Like I was telling Jordan earlier, one of these guys put me in a baseball bat choke, and I started like hearing tones and getting lightheaded, and I'm sitting there like giggling, and the dude is looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" But
So you're telling us BJJ is your drug.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't like the way you put that, but sure.
Sure.
But yeah, like it's a good gut check, because if you stay in the same circle, I feel like eventually you learn all your training partner styles,
Yeah.
and then you tend to stagnate. Like I feel like BJJ is a combat sport where you need to go and encounter a bigger shark. Like you need that gut check,
For sure.
because at Pentagon, really, Shane and Wale are the ones who really give me a good run for my money. Kadeem, you're okay, but
Hey, I don't expect it, man. Like I said, I'm a newly minted blue belt, so you don't
Yeah.
offend me by saying that. It's all good.
but yeah, it's everybody needs that punch in the gut
Yeah, for
to
sure.
let them know that they're not king of the hill. But
When I need that, I go out to Chantilly.
Yeah, I'm
I-
hoping to
They
travel
get
around.
swamped.
I used to go to Studio quite a bit on like the weekends at Open Mat, and that was a great bunch of folks there.
dude, I loved going there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna see when they were gonna allow folks to come by their open mat again.
Where's it at?
It's in Old Town Alexandria.
What?
Mhm.
Oh, who runs it?
Brandon Irvin.
Brandon
Brennan?
Irvin.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a
Brendan,
beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan
He's
Irvin.
a judo black belt.
Yeah.
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 He used to
Honestly,
throw me around a lot.
He's like super chill too.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. Yeah, he's I haven't seen him in probably 7-8 years, but yeah, we last time I saw him was probably at the Nationals in Virginia Beach. I think he got 5th and I got 9th, and I thought, oh, he's gonna win it for sure, but no, that was a really tough weight class, and he was in it, and I wouldn't say disappointed to see him show up, but as soon as we walked in, I'm like, what weight are you going? And he's like, I'm going 100 kilo. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yikes. I missed it in the beginning, but Jordan, where do you train? Or I guess I missed your introduction.
Yeah, I've been training judo since I was a little kid. I wrestled all through elementary, middle school, high school. I
Sweet.
started jujitsu back in like 2012.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I mean I moved around quite a bit. So I was stationed here in the military. I trained at Lloyd Irvin's for just a little bit of time. Nova MMA. Moved to Jersey, trained there, Pennsylvania, Florida. Now I'm back here. So
Sweet. Do you still go to Lloyd Irvin's or
I haven't. No, it's I've been meaning to make it out. I think they have like a Sunday open mat type of thing.
Okay.
At some point I'll go out and just stop in.
Yeah, I guess let me know, because Lloyd Irvin is like, I don't know, like maybe 15 minutes away from my house. So
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably 45, maybe an hour from mine.
yeah, that's
So-
how my commute
Yeah.
to Pentagon. So I'm on the
That,
opposite
Yeah.
end.
that actually sounds like a good
Uh,
road trip, good like trip, like
That's
group
another
trip.
level. Yeah, it's another level. Like you guys are talking about going to Chantilly. My head, I'm like, oh, Lloyd Irvin's. I'll go there and get the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah.
Let's
hour
Dojo Storm.
Yeah, and then
Let's all agree to Dojo Storm.
and then
Yes.
get the floor mopped with us.
Yeah, like I told Tom, I'll go with him to Dala's gym probably next week, or at least I hope to. It's just a distance for me because I'm on the Maryland side. But as long as I have maybe 1 or 2 people to make that introduction and maybe have that
Yeah.
safety net, is always cool. I'm always down. But
Yeah.
Kadeem, they are a different level of monster.
I'm sure
Dala or Lloyd Irvin?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't trained at Lloyd Irving, but a funny story, prior to even signing up for Pentagon, I actually went to Lloyd Irving, and I just ended up going to Pentagon at the end of it. So
Yeah. I will say, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like for beginners, Lloyd Irvin's is a tough atmosphere to break into.
yeah.
His programs, second to none. He has how many world champions?
Yeah.
But so for someone who, I don't know what your experience is, if you wrestled or whatever, but if you have no experience, walking into that gym is super intimidating. I mean, it was a little different for me. Like I'm used to a more relaxed atmosphere. Those guys were like, no water breaks. We can't talk. We can't do this and that. Very strict, very, to the point. But they, it's just such a high level gym that,
Yeah.
you can't beat it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't have any wrestling background. My only background is in Kyokushin.
Okay.
So I did that for a couple of years, and
It's so different.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's so
Yeah.
different. But yeah, I mean, I hope to train over there one day. It's definitely closer, but I like the Pentagon family, so I think that's why I ended up staying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone know folks at Capital MMA?
Nah.
Capital.
Chris
Which
does.
one's that?
They have one in Tacoma Park. I think they have one in Arlington.
Is it district?
No, it's the Capital MMA. It's under, I can't remember. It's one of under one of the Gracie students.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, Coach Chris, I think, knows a few guys that go to Capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple brown belts.
Yeah, let me know if you guys are going to Dallas. Same thing for me. It's a distance. It's Pentagon is already pretty far for me, so I'll probably have to make a special road trip up to Dallas.
Yeah, I plan on going next Friday again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make that. How long are the open mats? Is it? You said it starts at 7:30, but how long does it go to?
I've been there until
Like
10.
10. Yeah.
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 I was there, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it was like 9:30 before we
9:30,
got there.
something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one time we wrapped up and it was close to 10 o'clock. So
I don't know if I could be there that late, but I'll definitely make an appearance.
yeah, just don't go there tired. Don't go there without eating a good meal, because I did that tonight and I got wrecked. Wreckety wrecked.
Well, I guess I don't want to get you wrecked too much, but I know I'm gonna be slammed.
Did you start standing up or?
Oh no. Like the one guy who almost put me to sleep. I watched him a little bit, and he obviously had like a heavy wrestling background. Like he was snatching legs left and right. I'm not risking that. Nope.
But you have a judo background.
Yeah, with bad knees. My knees are a little bit better now. But Jordan's the guy that you want to watch for judo. Not me. My judo sucks.
Yeah.
Are you still training? Are you still training judo, Jordan?
It's been hard. So back in I would say short answer, not really. No. Pennsylvania, I was teaching the classes. When I was living in Florida, I lived in like, not that you guys will probably know, but like Sebastian, Florida. The nearest legitimate judo club was in Orlando, which is like 70 miles. So I said, you know what? I'm a jujitsu student now. Screw it. So for about 1.5 years, 2 years, I didn't do any judo. Moved up here in December of 2019. Pandemic happened. So I really haven't done judo since probably 2018.
It'll come back to you pretty quick, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Training all those years.
Yeah, it'll be right.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to do judo before BJJ. Sarah knew Vivek, so when I was complaining I wanted to do judo again, she was like, "Why don't you just do a jiu-jitsu class, a free one?" And that's how I encountered Sugi and everybody. But it's actually a good thing in hindsight that I did that instead of doing judo, because I probably would have injured myself doing judo at that point in time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I separated my shoulder a couple of times doing judo. It's like 6 months off each time.
Damn.
Yeah.
The shin hurt my shoulder when he taught that class that day.
I remember you talking about that.
It's still.
Shane was complaining about it like 2 classes later.
Yeah.
So,
and that was just like a simple, like he was just doing like, how if he's demonstrating a move and the beginning, and everybody in that class thought I was dead. They were like, What?
You know, I had never heard Shane complain about an injury really until after that class. He's like, Thomas, you know a guy named Shin? I was like, yes.
Well, it's not his fault. I just don't know how to land correct. I don't think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a big part of it.
So
Yeah.
but Masamaya, he was doing demonstrated, and same thing. I messed up my my Achilles, I think, or around somewhere around my ankle, because when I fell, when I hit the mat, my foot came flat down on the mat, and everything, it just felt like vibration all the way up my legs. I was like, oh, something's gonna be messed up. And still to this day, I have some trouble with it. So.
We did when I was younger, when we started judo, we did nothing but conditioning and break falls for months. Like before we even learned a single technique. And everyone was like, when are we gonna learn something? Like, can we learn something now?
It's like Karate Kid.
No, you have to learn more break falls. But
The problem is you can't do that anymore because I feel like everyone wants instant satisfaction.
Yes.
So if you sit there and you just do nothing but break falls for 2 or 3 weeks, they're gonna be like, "Well, I'm not coming back here. Fuck this."
Yeah, they're
got
paying for it.
Everybody has the UFC mindset that they're gonna go into UFC like next month. But I would completely respect a teacher who's like, we're just gonna do this, we're just gonna do this one thing and build on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a matter of age also. As an older guy, as older guys, it's like you appreciate that type of teaching.
So I'm a little disappointed that my buddy Tony didn't join in, but he did judo with me when we were teenagers. So when we started, not only did we have to do conditioning and break falling for a little while, we actually had to clean out the space that we used as our dojo. Like it used to be an arcade in the basement of an apartment complex. So they took all the arcade machines out, but didn't clean anything else. They said, if you guys want to use a space, you have to clean it. So our instructor got all of us, and there's probably about 10 of us, 13, 14 years old. We got cleaning supplies. We go down to the basement. We look around, black mold everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
So, my parents were like, are you sure that this is good for you guys to clean out? And we're like, well, I mean, if we want to use the space, we got to do it. And we cleaned it out. And then, after everything was done, they put the mats down, and then they were like, conditioning and break falls. And yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
The first technique we learned was a hip throw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't Osoto Gary? That's always the first.
So no, but there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into it today. That'll be a topic for another podcast. But
I also want to circle back real quick because I remember you guys talking about it and I didn't want to interject at the time. But I think one more advice that I would give to a white belt or maybe someone training is also learn to, I guess, advocate for yourself. And what I mean by that is know how to talk to your training partner, because I think if you don't, sometimes you can end up more injured than you walked in. Like even sometime this week, there's this guy in our gym who I feel like thinks he's a little bit too good or thinks he's better than he actually is. And his knee went straight into my face. And you probably can't see from the video, but like I had a black eye. And, like I felt like, now I'm like, oh, you got to be more conscious, especially being a little bit older, that you can't walk around with a black eye or a broken toe, because those things can be prevented and you can kind of calm your training partner down. So I think that's something that we should learn from an earlier point. Nothing wrong with like being tough and going through some things, but when you actually have
to work with a black eye.
Exactly. You don't want to walk around injured.
Yeah.
And I think certain people you can kind of tame, and there's times where you got to go hard and figure out things, but some people just don't get it. And they think that every round is a UFC round compared to
so
practicing.
New guy?
He's new-ish.
Newish, small
Yeah.
guy.
I think I know who he's talking about. I think you
Is
know
he-
who he's talking about.
Well, yeah, I'll
Is-
tell you. I'll tell
is
you
he-
offline.
No,
Is he
no,
a
no
small?
name.
Is he
No,
a small guy?
no. Stop that.
I'll tell you guys offline. And I think someone else got a black eye from that person too, but I haven't confirmed.
Mm,
If it's who I think it is, there's a recurring theme. But
yes.
stop it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the prayer. I'm just saying the lesson is for people to start talking, how to train with your partner. Like there was one class that I was in Nogi, and the instructor was like, well, whenever you roll with a partner, just tell them where you're at. Are you at a green, yellow, red,
Mm.
So, and I think that's a cool way to start.
That's
Some guys,
that's a good way to start. Yeah.
So,
If it's who I think it is and it's a recurring thing, I feel like I need to step in and kind of bring them down a little bit.
yeah.
so if it's who I think it is, I may or may not have laid down the law a few times while rolling with him.
Oh, you told me about that, Tom.
No. That's
Oh wait, you didn't tell me about
That's
that.
a different person.
Oh, my-
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I always have dreams of being the mat enforcer.
So I have this perfect picture of me and Wale where we're watching Sugi do a technique, but it makes both of us look like we're glaring somebody down and ready to murder them. And I did a meme that I have to look up because it just says mat enforcer ?
Yeah.
But
The one with Jason from the meme with Jason from
no,
Friday 13th.
it's me. It's a picture of me and you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll send it to you.
Sunday.
But
Yeah.
On the note of being older and going to work with an injury, one of Shane's competitions I saw, I thought everybody in his bracket was trying to murder each other. Like those guys went hard, and one of them ended up having blood all over his gi, and I was sitting there thinking, oh my god, like did somebody just get busted open really bad? And I was worried it was Shane. I was looking for Shane. I was like, where's Shane? Where is he? Yeah, he's right there. Okay.
Damn.
I was like just quietly looking him over.
Damn, when was that?
This
I don't
was
remember that.
it was Grappling Industries where you got bronze, but they accidentally were giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Like
That
it was
sucks.
like the 40 up bracket seniors, and they were just going to war. It was a little it's a little weird to watch. Because I thought it was always going to be a little bit calmer.
Usually when you get to masters, it's a lot calmer and
More skillful.
Yeah, you see these people all the time, especially if you do competition. So you kind of you have a camaraderie with them, and
See, that's what I thought, but I did a Masters blue belt, and that was worse than Masters white belt for me. Like there's a guy who was like a CrossFit instructor, and he was like submitting people over and over again, but people kept withdrawing from the bracket. Like, what is going on here? And then I go up against him, and he completely just overpowers me like I'm a little child, and he puts me in a bow and arrow, but it wasn't the throat that got me, it was my spine. My spine twisted.
Yeah.
So I was just like, nope.
See, it's like it's things like that, especially when you get older. Like when I go into competition, I'm not trying to get injured. I'm not trying to die. I need to live to see. My kids need their father. I need to live to see the next day. So I also have the same thought for my whoever I'm rolling against. I'm still gonna go competition level, but I'm not gonna go in and completely destroy them and injure them. Because like I've had issues like that where it's like someone goes completely off the wall, and you end up with like gi burns, and you end up with crank necks and all that stuff. It's not fun.
Nope. Especially if you have like a class in another day, 2 days from then.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out.
I think after that last competition I did, I didn't step foot at Pentagon for like 2-3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, I need to heal. That was the longest break I've ever taken.
Damn.
So
Damn.
it was
But yeah.
fun.
Just gotta keep on stretching, hydrate.
Yeah. Yoga, hot yoga and CBD oil, as Yo would say.
Mm,
I don't know
I haven't
about
tried that yet, but
I'm not trying it. I don't-
no.
Nah, I'm good. I'm stubborn.
And CBD in other forms.
I guess so. I don't know. But
Putting your teas and everything.
either way, I need to
think he's talking
give a
about
shout
tea.
out to my buddy Wayne for this bottle of rum, because this is some good stuff. I
It's
cannot
like a
drink
wine
this.
bottle.
What?
It kind of looks like a wine bottle.
It does.
Yeah, I
But-
thought it was mine when you first showed it.
Yeah, if
I was like, Thomas.
say again, Shane.
Is that Wayne from the gym?
Yeah, Wayne Graham.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
So
like, you're getting classy on us. I thought it was a wine bottle.
oh no. That is some good alcohol.
So
And
stick
y'all
your
can
pinky
have
out.
it because I can't drink the rest of it.
Yeah.
What'd you say? What?
I'll say stick your pinky out.
Yeah. I think I might copy holy crap. Sorry.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Why drinking water and
Drinking water and like
and,
Man, if I don't drink a little water in between, I'm gonna get a
yeah, you
migraine.
gotta even it out, you know.
yeah.
That's how I know I'm old. We were going back to that.
No, I'm gonna I think next week I'm just gonna have a Heineken.
You're wise, you
Yeah.
know. You know
Yeah.
your limits. You know what you need to recover.
Yeah.
So you're 31, Jordan?
Yeah,
That's not old.
I get hungover
How-
pretty easily.
Wait a minute. Kadeem, how old are you?
Kadeem, how old are you? Yeah.
I am 28.
Oh boy.
How old are you guys? Well, Tom, you're almost exactly 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
43.
43. Okay.
Shane
Shane,
doesn't
you
have to
said-
answer.
Shane is still calculating.
You
said
Shane is
something.
like,
Yeah.
I'm getting AARP things in the mail. It's like,
are you 3 digits yet?
He said,
51.
that's not
51.
old,
Oh,
man.
Well, Tom
You
was
know,
at my 50th.
Say again.
Dude,
Hold on a second.
Tom was at my 50th birthday party.
Yes. So the funny thing about that was his
Did he have hair
wife.
then?
Huh?
I said, did he have hair then?
Yes, I did actually. I had a bit of a mullet because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I'll pick it on both of you. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So Shane's wife coordinated like a surprise birthday thing for him. And me, Yo, Dan, and Jacob were rolling in Yo's basement at the time. So we called in from Yo's basement. I was still wearing my gi and had my hands wrapped up in tape. And I was like, how do I hide the fact that I was just rolling so Shane doesn't get like jealous or anything? So I'm on this Zoom call. I'm in my gi, but I'm trying to like focus on my face. And I think somebody pointed that out. I was like, oh, it looks like he's fighting. But yeah, it was
yeah,
fun.
so I missed that. There was something that I think I had something with the kids that day. So, yeah.
I was upstairs. Of course, when you're home, you can, you wear wear whatever you want to wear. And
Yeah.
of course I think I was wearing my boxers and she's like, you got to come downstairs. And I'm like, what for? I come run down and the TV's on. There's like 30
Wait.
people
Oh,
on the
shucks.
thing.
In your boxers.
I was like, what's going on down here? Like,
Actually, I didn't miss it. Now I remember I was there. Yeah.
you were there, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
there.
you were on
I was,
that call. Yeah.
I was on the call. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we were trying to hide the fact that we were having like a
Had a
fight
secret
club.
underground
Yeah.
club.
Fight Club.
Sugi found found out about it, and he came over and just beat the crap out of all of us.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, it was
you
fun.
found out about your secret fight club and became a people.
Yeah. we were all like playing it slick, like, shh, don't tell anybody. Next
That
thing
is hilarious.
COVID fight club. All of a sudden, I show up, Sue gives me a hug. I'm like, what are you doing here?
I
Yeah.
had just moved
Who
back to the
invited you?
area, and like I was reaching out to my friends and trying to be like, it's like, what's the password type of deal. Come on, man, I'm on a roll. So I didn't get the roll for a good, I don't even know, 8 months or something.
Yeah, I think that's how long I took
Well,
off too.
There was,
Jujitsu speakeasies.
yeah,
Mm,
literally.
Exactly. That's kind of how it was.
There
yeah.
was a couple of them going around, and I got invitations to at least 3. I had to decline and keep secrets. That's the problem, we know, that in that setting, when you have to like, covertly roll in people's basements, you can't tell anybody,
Mm.
even though you want to. It's like, so what did you do this morning? I rolled with my friends.
Yeah.
Goes back to the black eye conversation.
Yeah.
Well, in this day and age, if you didn't video it or take a picture after, you really didn't do it anyway. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It didn't happen. I was on a Teams meeting at my old job at the beginning of the year, and I had Matt burn from like probably about here down to the side of my face.
Damn.
And it's our Monday
Dragged.
morning meeting, and everybody started talking about what they did over the weekend. And I took my kids to soccer. Oh yeah, I went and picked daisies with my daughter. No, Tom, what did you do? I got beat up by my friends, and it was glorious. Everybody just got quiet and looked at, on the camera. You could see him looking around like, what did he just say?
You should have said, and I like getting choked out.
They might interpret that a little bit stranger than
Yeah, not the way you wanted to.
Yeah.
Jordan, are you still active military, or are you?
No, I'm all done. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm a free man. What about
Oh
you?
wow. No, I'm not in military. I'm engineering on the other
Oh,
side.
cool.
I thought about the military one time, but
Yeah,
didn't work out.
I'm a free man.
Congrats.
I think
Yeah.
the only other guy here who was military was Shane.
Oh, you're military too, Shane? Awesome.
Yeah, back in 1988,
Oh yeah.
What branch are you in?
Army.
Army? Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was straight out of high school. I think my dad picked me up on the other side of the graduation stage at high school and drove me straight to the recruiting station. And
Yeah.
I go in, and I went to Fort Benning for basic, and then they sent some guy down from Fort Drum, which is where I ended up going. But he came down and he's like, you guys are going to Fort Drum. And I'm like, and all of us, like, I had never seen snow before. Like I grew up in South Georgia. And when I landed up there and got off the plane, it was literally like a sea of snow. I was like, what have I done? Like, what in the world? Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
But
Yikes.
Something that's interesting is the last 5 years that I've done jiu-jitsu, I've noticed that guys who have been in the Marine Corps have like a distinct tenacity that I haven't really encountered with much of anybody else. But at the same time, guys who've been in the Army have kind of this something distinct as well. And I don't know if that's because of basic training or a mentality, like some sort of mindset. But I do know that Air Force guys don't have any of that.
They have air conditioning. That's why. They have air conditioning. That's why.
Yeah.
Has anybody admitted they were in the Air Force in the gym? Like,
yeah, there's been a handful of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer military discount? I was in the Air Force type thing. Yeah.
Those military dudes.
I can't say anything. Like my family is mostly Air Force or Marine Corps. It's like one or the other. My brother was the oddball and he went in the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nah.
Yeah, military dudes, pretty disciplined, and I think they know how to learn and do what they got to do. So that might be it.
Yeah, like Jordan, Ed, Chris, you can run down the line. There's like an underlying tenacity. I don't really, that's the wrong term, but there's something there. It's kind of like a middle finger in your face when you're rolling with them, and it's constantly there. But
Yeah.
it gives them like a bit of an edge. I feel like there's like an extra bit of pressure that's just always on.
I would probably call it mental preparedness. Like they're very focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to put it into words too, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
I think I actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. Maybe so. One of my platoon commanders, he said it perfectly, and I know I try to apply it to like. I know it's completely different situation no matter what I'll encounter for the rest of my life. But one of my platoon commanders, you know, I was infantry. He would say, you know, before we would do something, we are all bitching under our breaths, like, "Oh fuck this! I don't feel like being here. I don't want to do this." He would sit there and say, "Your enemy trained to kill you today. What did you do?" And like we kind of let that sink in. We're like, there is some guy over in Afghanistan right now practicing on how to kill me. And I'm like sitting here bitching because I got to do something for 2 hours and then go up to my room, take a shower, lay in my warm bed, watch TV, play video game, whatever I'm going to do. This guy's going to go sleep in a hole or like a mud hut, and then he's going to wake up and he's going to do the same thing. I don't know. It's something like I kind of carried that over, and I guess before I go to jujitsu, there's something in the back of my mind always clicking. Like, you know, I can be friendly as soon as we're talking, like we're all friends, whatever, we're training together, but in the back of my mind, I know I'm going to go to a competition where someone who I'm going to compete against in the future is currently working, I hope not harder than I am. And so, especially for the nights that I skip, or, you know, if I'm not in the gym, you know, I feel good. I know 4 or 5 days a week on the mat is good. But for the nights that I skip, Thursday night, Sundays, Mondays, whatever, it's always in the back of my head, like, well, is my competition training right now? So what should I be doing?
Yep.
So
I think so the Master Buddha, he kind of had the same mentality. Like, you know, he's always, you know, if your coach says do 10 push-ups, he does like 15, that sort of thing. And it's like you're always thinking that you need to train harder than the other guy. And that's what's gonna give you the level up in competition, and it's what's gonna level up your martial arts game.
yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah,
there's always like levels of confidence as well that you kind of reach. Like you reach certain peaks, or you know, obviously being in the military, like I've done, you know, I've been through things like training, whatever, this and that I know other people weren't. Like when I was going through boot camp, my friends were in college having fun drinking, so obviously I was jealous, a little bit bitter, but you know, there was always that part that I'm like, okay, I know I'm coming out of this a better or stronger person on the other side. So there's different things, like when I go to a competition, in the back of my mind I'm like, well, this guy's never been through some of the bullshit, you know, didn't do the 4 years, didn't do this and that. And of course I have it in the back of my head too, how hard I have been training. You know, 4 days a week, 2 hours a night, that's 8 hours a week, every single week for the past how many years of my life that I've been doing this. It's not shit. You know what I mean? Like and for me to be in, you know, have been doing judo since I was a little kid and wrestling, when I go to most competitions, I know that that person hasn't been wearing a gi for more than 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I've been doing it for 25 years, 26, 27, whatever. So in the back of my mind, I'm pretty confident in that respect. And then of course it didn't happen quickly. Like it's not like I won my first tournament right away. For my first tournament to have been 4 years old, I think I won my first one, got gold when I was like 12. So that was 8 years of just losing consistently. So
Learning.
once that happened, it was like something mentally flipped. And I think that's going to happen for anybody who sticks with it, trains hard. And I'm sure you guys being, you know, blue belts, purple belts, and I'm a purple right now. I'm not like, it's not like I'm light years ahead of anybody, but when you kind of sit down in your butt and you look at a white belt in the eye who you know hasn't been training, you know you're going to win. You know you're going to beat them. It's not like you're questioning yourself in your mind, like, oh, can I do this? You kind of, when you go to a competition, you have to apply that same mindset. You're standing, on the other side of the table as that person, and you just have to know in your mind, like, I'm going to beat this guy. Like, I've prepared myself 100%. So,
Yeah.
How often do you?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that, not to segue too far for what Tom was saying, like, I guess that's kind of the mental preparedness that, that the military sort of brings. It's like you train for all the shit situations, and
Mm.
at that time, all your friends from back home are partying, having fun, comfortably, and you just put yourself in uncomfortable situations all the time,
Yeah.
so that you're better prepared than everyone else.
So just to tack on what he said, just a little bit of a
Yeah, I went
Further.
long-winded there for a second.
Hey, man,
no, it's
all
fine.
good.
So our coach Ed, who moved to Hawaii, who was in the Marine Corps, he once gave a little bit of a speech at the end of one of his classes where he said, if you're going to go on the offense against somebody, attack from all angles. And Shane does this to a degree. Wale does this to a degree. Kadeem is getting there. Jordan is somebody that I have to keep an eye out for because he literally attacks me from all angles. Like the last time I rolled with him, I tried to do an over underpass or a double under. It was a double underpass, and he armbarred me, and I didn't know that was possible. And
it's my Americana with my leg.
Yeah, it's an Americana with his leg, and I was just sitting there, and I was just like giggling. I don't know if he noticed, but I kind of giggled because I was like, damn. And what Ed said, like, literally hit me right there. I was like, yeah, he literally attacked me from all angles. Because he was reaching over my back trying to get my belt. I went under, and boom, he got my shoulder. So.
Yeah.
How often do you compete, Jordan?
I haven't competed much lately. It just depends. Like for judo, it's so different. Like when I got out of the military, I did maybe 6 or 7 tournaments in that first year being out. So every year it was like 6 or 7 judo, 3, 4 jujitsu, whatever. So maybe like 10 times a year. Judo's weird, man. Like not that I ever thought I had a shot at being in the Olympics or anything, but I always try to put myself on like that circuit of, hey, if I show up and I start doing well and I gather points, it'd be cool to be the number 1 guy or number 2 guy in the United States. If you don't have money in judo, like this is a whole nother topic that actually gets me a little fired up about like the funding for Olympic sports. You are going absolutely nowhere. You will pay for everything out of pocket. I think I competed 6 or 7 times, like I said. 2 of them were pointed tournaments. I ended up with 3, 4 points towards like the Olympic roster. And then I logged on just out of curiosity on like US or Judo Insider or whatever. And I started checking the points, and the number 1 person had like 400 or 500 points, and I had 4. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Not that I'd ever beat him, but he didn't even qualify for the Olympics. You had to have like 100 points, or it's such a crazy thing. But anyways, not to segue like completely away from it. Like I said, I can bitch about like funding for Olympics and this and that. And just to sum it up, like if you ever watch a documentary about Ronda Rousey on Netflix,
I saw it.
she was an Olympic bronze medalist living out of her car.
Yeah.
How's that okay? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I've competed quite a bit. I just haven't competed much lately. I think Tom and I you went to the Fuji in Baltimore. That was like the only time I've competed in a couple of years.
No, I didn't.
Not the one we skipped. The other one.
No, I didn't go that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to compete at Master Worlds, so
Yes.
I'm signed up. I just haven't booked my plane ticket yet.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one in Las Vegas? Or?
Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sugi's competing in that too.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah, that's why he's been kind of mollywopping us periodically more than
Oh
normal.
yeah, I forgot to say that earlier. He's beating the shit out of you guys because he's training.
Yeah.
He's like free. This is free cannon fodder here.
Yeah. Well, a couple weeks ago after Dalla's open mat, he's like, "Hey man, come here quick. I want to drill." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm ready to go home and like chill out. And he just did like, guard passing drill for maybe 10 minutes straight. Just him going full sprint at it. I'm like laying there on my back. My head's getting tired. My abs are getting tired. Sugi's going at 100 miles an hour around me. I'm like, all right, man.
But keep in mind, guys, if he does that with you, it means that he's comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I agree with that. Even though I was getting slammed for 10 minutes, I did feel like good because I was like, hey, I'm not hitting him in the face. I'm not spazzing out. I'm actually feeling like I'm doing a little defense here. So I feel you on that one because he doesn't spar with everyone. I've
No.
realized,
Sure.
I don't like sparring with white belts. I'll be honest. Like you had said, you're so spazzy, you're gonna get injured.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
sure.
It
Yeah,
depends.
one of the well, this was a couple of weeks ago. One of the best feelings was like I was doing class and I was drilling stuff that he taught. And I guess I did it right. And he was like, good job, Wally. I was like, that was like one of the best feelings.
Nice.
It's like, when your dad is proud of you for doing something,
Yeah.
and then it's the opposite is also the same. Like when I'm in competition and he's like shouting from the sideline, like, don't do this, you should have done that. And I get off and he's like, you should have done this, and that. And I'm thinking, but I won gold. How is it that I won gold, but I still feel so demoralized?
Yeah.
So the second competition I did was a no-gi submission only comp, and
Oh wow.
Sugi was trying to coach, but like after I submitted my first opponent, I looked over and apparently he had been yelling at the top of his lungs the whole time, but I couldn't hear him because he's so soft spoken.
Mm-hmm.
So him yelling at the top of his lungs in a crowded area is actually still very quiet. So I was like, hey, can you talk louder? Like, I can't hear you. He just giggles and taps me on the shoulder. Okay.
Yeah, just gotta have that grit, that don't quit mentality.
Man,
Yeah.
speaking of that, it's so funny. When we were going to Nova MMA, there was Wilson's Tavern right next door. Sugi invited me to go have a few beers and watch Ronda Rousey fight. And I think it was Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. When Chris Weidman broke his leg over Anderson Silva, I never heard Sugi yell so loud. He went crazy. I'm like, I was more shocked by Sugi than I was by the TV. I'm like, holy shit! Like, he's loud. He was like screaming, man. It was funny.
That'd be painful.
Actually, yeah, at Yo's house, we did a UFC viewing, and he was yelling at the TV, and everybody just kind of stopped and looked. We were, everyone's like, "Is he okay? Like, what's happening here?"
Yeah.
But yeah, when
he
gets into it, he starts getting loud, like loud.
I think he wants to be in the match, to be honest.
Probably.
He's at that level. He is at that level.
Oh, Jordan, did you see his MMA match?
I did watch it. It was what, like a minute?
Yeah,
like
it was 30,
quick. 32 seconds.
That guy up.
Yeah, it was the last match of the night, and we were waiting for we thought there'd be some really good ground fighting, some really good jujitsu. Yeah. Negative. He just knocked the guy out by punching him.
Yeah.
Sugi's got a lot of he's got to have a lot of aggression if he's that nice all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I honestly believe we don't see but just a little bit of what he's what he's capable of.
The guy was an Olympian.
Even when when you roll with him, it's just a fraction of what I think. He could probably just.
I've seen him go pretty hard on someone before, and it was some dude who came to the gym and he was being a dick to the people at the front. I think it was like a blue belt, I think it was a blue belt. And then back then I was a white belt, and this dude, we were doing round robin, and this dude would he'll completely overpower white belts, and he would next. and like
I think Tom
he
said
messed
this
up
story.
like my shoulder or
I heard
something.
about that.
Yeah. And so Sugi just went in on him. And after one round, the dude was completely winded. And Sugi's like, no, get up, you're blue belt. Come on, let's go. He never came back. Yeah.
So
But that's why going back to my dream of being a mat enforcer, that's what I want to do to people who are being dicks.
So for those of you who don't know, our coach Sugi is a judo Olympian, and I think it was the 2004 Olympics. He represented Mongolia.
Mhm.
So he is no joke. He is a small, like ball of death when he wants to be, but he doesn't want to be. I hope so. But he's a super nice guy. He's like one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
On that note, there was another black belt who joined our gym at Pentagon MMA. This guy named I think it was Ed's friend. What's his name? Jaron. His last name was Jaron. Steve, Coach Steve. And he was I think he was like a 3rd degree black belt in BJJ, like super fit, real nice guy. We were all at an open mat, and Steve was I was rolling with him, and he was, just getting a good workout, and he was submitting me a lot. And I was observing and learning everything. I was just taking it in. And Sugi was walking to the bathroom, taking his gi off, looked over, saw Steve get me a paper cutter, and then he put his gi back on, waited for our round to finish, walked over, held his hand out, and I shit you not, that was like watching 2 Jedi Masters trying to murder each other without saying they wanted to murder each other. Like they went all across the mat. The Muay Thai guys stopped, all the Jiu-Jitsu guys stopped. Everyone like basically gave them a bunch of space, and for about 15 minutes, they were just going at it hard. And Suki was having fun, but you could see he had his game face on. And Steve stopped for a second. He was like, I need a break. And Suki wasn't having it. Suki got right in his face and held his hand out. And they went at it again. And after it was all said and done, Sugi slapped his hands, bumped the fist, walked away, started taking his gi off. Steve came over and sat next to me and was like, did I do something wrong? I was like, maybe he just wanted a challenge. I was like, you're pretty good, Steve. Like,
Damn.
Yeah, I wish I had a recording, because at the end of the day, neither one of them had any ill will, but wow, like
Steve knew what's up after that. He knew
Yeah,
he knew what it is.
like Steve didn't give any quarter, didn't ask for none, and neither did Sugi. And it was
That's
a sight to
badass.
behold. Yeah, I haven't seen him go like that since.
I hope I have that talent one day.
Yeah.
I'll give myself an asthma attack. That's why I go nice and slow.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you hope you have that talent until Sugi grabs you and says, "Oh no, we're gonna go."
Yeah.
And then when you want to break, he's like, "No, we keep going.
Yeah.
Stamina,
Take
talent,
it
all
back,
that.
take it back."
I don't want to have to meet Sugi when I become a black belt years and years and years from now, because I know he's just gonna murder me. He's like, oh, you're a black belt now. Okay.
I never want that man to be angry at me for anything.
I will never forget. I forget the kid's name who got his blue belt. He don't come to the gym anymore, but Sugi, I guess, as his rite of passage, like that day, he made him go, like it was like a pit of, he was in the middle and he had to go. He called out people, go, like this guy had to go out, like fight like everybody, and he was to the point where he couldn't even, like he was completely. I felt bad for. I was like, holy cow, like, and I forget the guy's name.
Was it Hang? It wasn't Hang. It was the other guy, a little short guy.
Wasn't it? Young guy.
Yeah, it's I know who you're talking about, but his name eludes me right now. But
that's the first time and the last time I've ever seen that. Like, I don't.
Is he still there?
No, he quit a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, but like I don't know why he did that, or that's the first time and last time I've ever seen that. But He's
he
like,
did
okay,
he
you
did
got
that,
your blue belt. You got to earn it today. Like,
he did it to that kid and he did it to Hang. So he did it twice, but he hasn't done it since.
I remember Hang. I remember Hang.
Yeah. He's at
Yeah.
50. I think he's at 50-50 now.
Damn. Everybody comes and goes, man.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast, honestly.
Like I
Yeah.
said,
Those
man,
two-
the turnover is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of
Well,
part
I
of
think also there are a lot more people trying out jujitsu now,
Mhm.
especially because of the pandemic. I've noticed that there are a ton of white belts,
Yeah.
and it's especially it's seasonal too. Around beginning of the year, you see a huge influx of people, and
Yeah.
then by March, you see like half of them, and maybe like a handful make it till fall.
Yeah. And those are the people that you'll probably stick around for a little while after that.
Yeah,
Then there's
yeah.
another like cutting season after that.
Yeah.
So on that note, when it comes to the new guys like the white belts, I'm kind of torn because I feel like if I don't teach them a lesson, so to speak, they'll get big headed and they won't begin to learn, especially learn to calm down. But at the same time, I feel like if I do teach them a lesson, like if I submit them or if I gain a position over them or etc., they might get discouraged and never come back. So
I think it's on a case by case basis. You just kind of
Agreed.
have to feel them out. If you see that they're overconfident, then they do need to be brought down a peg. And I think that's for any
Yeah.
level, any belt level, because
Agreed.
it's at the end of the day, the humility is a huge part of the martial art. You
Yeah.
can't just come in and think that you're gonna beat everybody.
Yeah.
definitely.
But
There
at the
was
same time, if they come in and they're a little bit, timid, then you kind of help them along.
right.
But at the same time, not making it super easy for them, but just help them along.
Because there was a guy who started around Kadeem, around when Kadeem started, and I think he was a little bit younger. And I went really slow with him, just rolling, put him on his back, put him in knee on belly, sat there until the round ended, like tried to let him squirm out of it. And then he was talking to me, and he was like, "Yeah, when I'm your age, I wish I could be this good." I was like, "Oh, cool, thank you." He goes, "How old are you? 29, 30?" I was like, I'm almost 40. And
Mhm.
then he looked at me like with his look of defeat, or saw him again. And I was just like, did he
Well,
where'd he go? Did he quit because
I
I'm
mean,
40? Like what?
if that's the case, then he just let his mental, he just let that get in, psych himself out, basically.
Yeah.
It's possible if that's what happened. It's possible he thought about how long he has to train before he gets any good, and he's like, no, this isn't the sport for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely got to think about it in as a marathon,
Yeah,
because you're gonna be
Yeah,
at
like-
certain belts for a long time.
yeah. Like talk about competitions and losing. I started when I was like 35, 36.
Mhm.
When I started competing, I lost every competition. Like it took me a couple of years of competing to actually medal. But you just have to keep at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people like that piss me off a little bit. Because you can see that look of defeat in their face when you finish, and they kind of look at you like, God damn, I just got beat up. I can't believe that happened. And I look back at it, I'm like, do I look like I'm not capable of doing that, or like, do you not take
Yeah,
yourself-
right.
and I don't sit down at a chess table and challenge like a grandmaster and expect to win. That's not going to happen. Not calling myself a grandmaster, but it's like, this is something I've been doing for a long time. You're not going to come in here on your first day and beat me at it. If you did, you shouldn't be paying for a membership, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a new guy at Pentagon right now that does get frustrated that he can't beat the upper belts. And I think it's the same guy that we were discussing earlier.
Oh,
Nah,
that guy, that dude.
nah. I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
talk offline.
That's a big no. No name calling if it's
Yeah.
We need a hit list. basically.
Yeah, we'll
What do
see.
you think? Good. You think there isn't one?
We need to share notes. Let me see.
I cannot confirm nor deny as the potential mat enforcers of several gyms. No, I'm just joking. All right. Anyways, gentlemen, it's getting a little bit late. Gonna wrap it up. So last thoughts, Shane, last thoughts and whatnot about the podcast tonight.
My bedtime was about 7:30, so when you get old, you go to bed really early. But anyway, no, I enjoyed it. It's fun. Enjoyed talking to everybody, and look forward to seeing you guys on the mats.
Of course. Wale?
Yeah, this was fun. I definitely enjoyed this because I learned a bunch of stuff from everyone. Everyone has different personality, different background. It's great to just talk about stuff. It's good.
Kadeem?
First, I would, I guess a couple of things. Apologize for being late. Second of all, it's an honor to be even invited onto this. Never been a part of something like this, so that's pretty awesome. I'm thankful for it. And hope to continue training. I think that's one of the things with combat sports, because it's so difficult, and if you have longevity, you tend to kind of build a community, and I really do like that. Even with my background in Kyokushin, you tend to kind of bond with those people because you suffer for, maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours with some of these people. And it's always cool to kind of have that family or mindset and people around you. So thanks again. Appreciate everyone sharing their experience, and it's been an honor.
All right. And Jordan?
Yeah, I feel like I got to come meet you guys and roll. No, but I look forward to coming on here again and just chatting. It's cool to sit down and talk. You don't really you're kind of shoot out of the gym most of the time whenever you finish, and everyone's trying to close up, clean the mats, and just get on the road. But it's cool to sit down and just talk about different things, especially with people who are like-minded.
Yeah.
So I can't have this conversation with my coworkers or
Yep.
I sound like a psychopath.
We're your support group.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, congrats on the kid, dude. How old?
Thank you. 6 weeks. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Congratulations.
wow. Super. Yeah, congrats. Yeah.
I'm
It's
surprised
new.
you're up right now and available.
They went home. They're back in Pennsylvania just for the weekend.
Gotcha.
So,
His,
yeah.
his dad's strength boost hasn't kicked in yet, but he'll be about 20% physically stronger
Yeah.
soon.
I noticed an adaptation to the dad bod because I'm holding him a lot. My arm gets tired, so I find myself like pushing my belly out to rest my arm as I hold my baby.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm not
What-
opposed to the dad bod anymore.
When I had a belly, I used to sit them both of my boys on top, like just to give my arms a
Okay.
rest. So anyways, gentlemen, that's actually why I wanted to do this. Like I wanted to get everybody together and just chit chat while we had a drink, if you drink. But yeah, so on that note, a good idea. Let's maybe we can meet up for an open mat somewhere at some point in time and just physically beat the crap out of each other, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And talk about it afterwards.
And talk about it afterwards. All right,
Yeah, just let
gentlemen.
me know, Tom.
Sure, I'll coordinate it. I'll figure it out.
Awesome.
Sweet.
All right, y'all have a good night.
All right.
I'll talk to
See
you
you
next time.
later.
See
Have
ya.
a good one, guys. Sleep well.
Good night.